Without objection, the gentleman from New York, Mr. Molinaro, and the gentlewoman from New York, Ms. Maliotakis, are permitted to sit on the dais and ask questions to the witnesses. I would also like to seek unanimous consent and have Mr. Menendez also wave on to the committee. Without objection, so ordered, I recognize myself for an opening statement. I first want to thank our witnesses for participating in today's field hearing on evolving threats, security and safety in a post-9/11 world. I am humbled to be able to conduct this hearing on such sacred ground. As a lifelong New Yorker, retired NYPD detective, former chief of the Island Park Fire Department, and chairman of the Homeland Security Subcommittee on Emergency Management and Technology, I want to thank each and every one of you for your commitment to keeping our nation, our state, our city, and of course our beloved Nassau County safe. Without you, we would be in a very different place. It is my firm belief that those serving in law enforcement, the fire service, and emergency management represent the very best of America. Our nation remains resilient thanks to your bravery and the bravery of your colleagues, their tenacity and their ability to bring order into chaos. They choose to overcome fear with courage every day, which they nobly demonstrated 22 years ago as they helped our nation respond to and recover from the deadliest attack the United States has ever seen. The terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001 shook this great nation and took the lives of almost 3,000 innocent people, lives that were taken far too soon. Our sense of safety and security was shattered, highlighting the presence of very real and a very cruel enemy. And while the tragic fall of those great towers will never be erased from our memory, we also cannot forget the unparalleled heroism and determination demonstrated by first responders and law enforcement that day. As former President George W. Bush declared in his address later that evening, we responded with the best of America, with the daring of our rescue workers, with the caring for strangers and neighbors who came to give blood and help in any way they could. Amid such pain and chaos, New York City's firefighters, police officers, paramedics ran towards the collapsing buildings with unforgettable courage and compassion. The world may look different than it did 22 years ago, but there is no shortage of those who seek to do harm and disrupt our way of life. From our nation's first responders to those of us serving in Congress, we each have a role to play in keeping our communities safe and protecting our right to life, liberty, and our pursuit of happiness. Following the attacks of September 11th, Congress demonstrated its commitment to national security by reforming intergovernmental coordination and terrorism prevention by creating the Department of Homeland Security. Within DHS, the Federal Emergency Management Agency's grant programs provides preparedness funding for states, local governments, and nonprofit agencies to prevent and respond to terrorist attacks, major disasters, and other emergencies. DHS Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency leads our nation's efforts to defend against cyber threat actors that target critical infrastructure, federal, state, and local governments, the private sector, and every single individual that calls America home. The Department's Office of Intelligence and Analysis delivers intelligence information to our state, local, tribal, and territorial and private sector partners. DHS's Countering Terror Weapons of Mass Destruction Office was established to help its operational partners at the federal, state, and local level to prevent the use of weapons of mass destruction against the United States of America and promote readiness for chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear threats. Regardless of one's position, As public servants, we must follow the example of those heroes who sacrificed their lives that day and use the authority and resources we've each been given to put the lives of our fellow Americans first. We must be vigilant in confronting new threats as well as innovative as those threats evolve. The United States Armed Forces, law enforcement, and the intelligence community has bravely fought terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, ISIS, and many others. But their radical ideologies continue to inspire violence against the West. In fact, the FBI has expressed concern about U.S.-based lone actors radicalized by jihadism and other radical ideologies. Additionally, other threats include transnational criminal organizations, which have trafficked fentanyl into the United States of America, causing more than 100,000 deaths annually. Cyber attacks and espionage also threaten our nation's hospitals, small businesses, and critical infrastructure. Furthermore, anti-Semitism and hate crimes have skyrocketed in the last 2 years. There is no doubt the evil we face is ever evolving. And although daunting, we must meet today's challenges with the same commitment to protecting those we love as those heroes who responded to the attacks on 9/11 and the brave soldiers who fought on the front lines in Afghanistan. We must be unwavering in our support of the federal and local law enforcement agencies as they intercept and disrupt terrorist plots against this great nation. And we must support our nation's network of emergency responders as they safeguard our home from unimaginable threats. As we look to the future, let us remember those who gave their lives on September 11th, 2001, and who have courageously fought to protect our freedoms. Freedom isn't free, so let us be united in our resolve to protect our businesses, our places of worship, and our way of life, all which are beacons of light in the greatest nation in the world. Thank you again to our witnesses for your commitment to peace and security. I look forward to hearing from you about your work.